ladies and gentlemen. Well, in the previous presentation, you have seen that to deploy today citizen ID is a very, very complex exercise. We need to consider all the investments in order to do the enrollment, the issuance, but also the deployment. Means the deployment involves a huge investment in infrastructure as well. In this presentation, we will show how we can do today in a way to deploy in a very easy way a citizen ID. Basically, we have to consider only two elements in order to succeed. This will be the card, that is the secure element, and also just an authentication server. All the rest of the infrastructure is today available. Well, our group is based in Switzerland, and we are leaders in digital security. Basically, we are worldwide leaders also in pay TV and other security application as well. We are covering worldwide, and we are presenting ourselves as expert advisor and technology provider for everything related to government, banking, corporation, and e-consumers use applications. Our company is based in Switzerland, created in 1976, and we have also a manufacturing plant producing also secure cards with all kind of security features and certifications. Well, let's start now with the requirement from the governments that sometimes we are missing this, and we are just trying to sell components without to analyze really what are the needs. Well, today all governments worldwide are seeking for security, cost for sure, quick implementation on the program. That is not the case today. We know when we start citizen IDs programs, never know when we end up with that. We are looking also for convenience and also something that is scalable, and also the infrastructure. That's today the governments are challenging the industry in order to see with all the technologies available how we can speed up and reduce the costs. Well, from citizen perspective, they are seeking as well for security. They are looking for convergence as well, like for the iPhones, and convenience. And so they are looking as well to do any kind of transactions with the governments anywhere, anytime, using a solution that are convenient also for them. Well, let me show now what is the normal way to deploy today and to implement a citizen ID. Basically, the standard way, like Emiratech has presented before, we have a smart card, could be contactless, and we try to divide the memory in different segments where we allocate a part of the memory with different information about the citizen, meaning that a citizen across his life, he has several data in different databases on the government side. As a citizen, I will have a national ID. I have also information on the healthcare database. Probably I have a driving license. If I have a weapon ID, I will be also in the database of the Minister of Defense, etc., etc. With this solution, and in despite of many years trying to deploy this kind of ID solution, the industry never succeed. Basically, the key points that we need to consider related to these failures is who is the owner of this application, basically, who pays, who shares the information, how to share the information in a secure way, who updates the information, because probably most of the citizens, they have smart cards, they keep it at home for 2-3 months, and they are not using. And also the most important point is who takes care about the infrastructure. Because it's, well, that at the end of the day, this became a kind of bubble tower where everybody is trying to bring their solutions and never end up with the final solution. Well, if we have a look now in the possibilities that we have in order to implement an ID, the governments today are really challenged because they have a lot of different possibilities. Basically, the industry claims that each technology is the best one. That if we have a look on technology related to identification. We have dual interface chip, contactless, contact, optical memories, magnetic stripe, barcodes. Well, what is the best one? Related to materials, today everybody claims that polycarbonate probably is better than the Teslin or even the PETX, for example. On the printing security features, there are documents that they have over 45 security feature levels. And from biometrics as well, the new challenge is to see what is the best one. Fingerprints against iris, palm vein, etc. Someone's claimed now that DNA is the best solution, match on card, etc., etc. This is really a big dilemma for the governments. Well, countries that have deployed national IDs based on contact or contactless cards are asking today what they can do with the documents, because the infrastructure are missing. Everybody has an ID, a document, but nobody is using really. The major issues are related to the infrastructure, readers that we need to deploy on the field, that the government, they don't have really money to deploy these huge infrastructures. And also what we need to think about is that there are not really convenience technologies. Why? Because citizens are not able to plug it at home in their computer and be able to use their smart cards in a convenient way as well. Well, that's the lesson to learn now after more than 10 years that governments are trying to deploy in a success way national IDs. Are 5 points. That is security, convergence, convenience, rapid implementation, and also using of existing infrastructure. This is really a must today for the governments. Now let's have a look what we have available today on the field. Okay, because we have a lot of things, and most of the time people are not aware of this. From 1945, the radio, walkie-talkies, is the device that is the most used device worldwide by the police force and also military force. If you go around the countries and traveling, you will see that every time the police force have this radio with them in order to identify and authenticate people on the field. We are 7 billion citizens, and by end of 2012, the mobile phones will exceed also this volume. We are today connected. Over 15 billion people are connected to internet, and by 2015, we will be over 15 billions. Well, by end of 2012, nearly 55% of also mobile phone will be smart. That if you have a look in this slide, okay, I think that everybody is familiar with this kind of devices, with the radio, with the mobile phones, with the computers. And the mobile phones today become also a reader, because the NFC is also an interface that will allow to communicate in a secure way with the right smart cards. Well, today in emerging countries, that this is the challenge, because developed countries that have more or less infrastructures, but the emerging countries, they need to invest a lot of money in order to make this happen for their IDs. That more and more countries are looking for a universal ID that they can combine with just one smart card, different services for our citizens. That you can have a look here in the slide. The main requirements are always the infrastructures, smart card readers, trainings to government employees, and as well educational measures to citizens, and a strong hotline. Well, now we come with another concept, and we claim that we reinvent the smart card. Why? Because it's the solution that allows to identify and authenticate a person anywhere, anytime with existing infrastructures. Well, this is normally what everybody knows today related to a smart card. We have a card that have a contact or contactless interface, but in order to be able to communicate with whatever kind of IT systems, we need readers. What we did here is to change all of this and put the display directly on the cards, allowing us to get this information and to avoid to have a reader. Means that we have the information window that today we have on the reader most of the time, on the computer. We have a switch, that in a secure way we can access to this information. And we have the card identification number. Means that today with the two-factor, the card identification number and the DS key, we are able to send a visual PACE. Means the password authenticate connection establishment that we are doing today with electronic passport, for example, or other IDs, combining also the ID with the key that is normally into the chip. Well, let me introduce now what is a display card. Basically, it's the same of any other smart card. We have an electronic that we are laminating between layers in order to customize or tailor-made the card. As a platform, we can imagine different kinds of apps that we call them. We have, for example, the keypad. You're familiar, like your mobile phone. We can introduce also contact chip, contactless, magnetic stripe, optical. We have also a display that can be a dot matrix. Means that we can also display text in Arabic or in Chinese in order to adapt the text to the local countries. Related to certification, today this smart card is the smart card that got the highest level of certifications around the world. And for different use application, being compliant with government, corporate, online, and banking use application as well. That's you see all the standard related to contactless, contact, banking as well. We are 35 Visa, MasterCard. That is an all-in-one solution into one platform. When we are talking about conversions, I think everybody has in mind this. We follow exactly the same example. That we combine all of these elements. That we have tokens, we have readers, USB keys, we have standard card, could be employees, government, or banking. We integrate, we mix it, and we put just everything in just one platform. We change only the layout, and we remain exactly the same. This is to show to you that it's like an iPhone, where you have a platform, and based on the apps, you customize and you tailor-made your use application. Well, now when we talk about what is the infrastructure we need in order to deploy a citizen ID. On the first presentation, on the previous presentation, sorry, from Emaratech, they show really big lists about what we need to consider, just to enrollment and issuance. Think about now the deployment. Here, we will have really a very convenient way to deploy this, and very quickly, and for sure very economic, because we need to consider only the card, just an authentication server, and the database that are already existing. That you need only two elements in order to deploy whatever kind of citizen ID around the world. We call the Universal ID platform because for government use application, we have compared the standard solution we have today, that is plastic, and also smart card, versus this new platform. What is bringing new? If we have a look on plastic cards, we know that there is no security. This is the five, for the people who is not familiar with this. These are the five factors that normally all governments around the world consider before to deploy a citizen ID. That is security, complexity, infrastructures, setup time, and cost. That for a plastic card, for sure there is no security, no complexity, no need of infrastructure, because just we are having a look on the card. Setup time is very quickly, and the costs normally are very low. When we go to a smart card, it's totally the opposite. We have high security, they are very complex. We need a strong infrastructure as well to deploy. Setup time, as I said before, we know when we start, we never know when we finish the program. And the costs are so high that today there is any country on the world that has succeeded with their ID programs. Well, now if we compare with the display card platform, we have combined the simplicity of a plastic card with the security of a smart cards. Mean that in the security we have a microcontroller, Common Criteria 5 Plus inside as well, Complexity, there is nothing because we need just to print the card, to have an authentication server, that's it. Infrastructure, we have everything on the field. Radios, telephones, computers, nothing more. Setup time is very quickly because we issue the cards and so we need just to put the seed on the authentication server and that's it. The same model of the credit cards. And the cost, when we combine the cost of the infrastructure we need in a smart card, traditional smart card versus this platform, the prices are really ridiculous. Well, now, when we talk about the apps, this is what we can implement into this smart card. Basically, we have a layout that we can customize. We can put also biometrics on demand. We can put an extended access control or basic access control like for the passports. We can also do a one-time login with NFC. We still keep the display that can be a normal one or dot matrix. Ends with the switch, ends the card authentication number. We continue to have the password authenticated connection establishment. Well, now, when we think about the structures on the government around the world, we have the government, all the time we have Minister of Interior and Minister of Finance that they are paying the project. And so in all countries around the world, we have always a department that is a federal agency that is most of the time a national informatics department. Around this, they are trying to see how they can really put a solution interoperable around all the ministries that normally are in charge to get the information about the citizen. Well, in order to use words that everybody understands, we are comparing this card like a key. Okay, because when you are at home or you go to your car or office, you need always a key. That if you have this key and you have a secure lock that is the authentication server, it will be very easy for a citizen to do e-government as they are doing today e-banking with their token. This will allow the citizen go and interact in a very easy way with each department. Using that token basically is very easy to use. No readers. For the government employees, we will provide also to them a credential that will allow them to do physical access control, logical access control, VPN as well, connection. They don't need multiple tools with one tool, and also document signature corroboration that is the equivalent of a PKI. Again, no readers. Well, the secure two keys principle that we are copying here for the banks, you know that if you have some money in a bank, we have two keys. One is the customer and the other one is the functioner. We copy again the same model. Well, if we now extrapolate this to the government, we have the citizen that they have their key, and we have also the functioner, could be a policeman, could be a military, could be whatever kind of functioner with their key as well. And we have the databases. Now, as a citizen, if I have my data in whatever kind of these databases, normally I should be able to interact in an easy way with these databases, as I'm doing with a bank with my token when I have some money in a bank as well. For the functioners, what we will take care is that his keys is allowing only to this person to get information about the citizen on the databases that he is allowed to get information. If this person, for example, is working for the Minister of Interior, probably he can get information about me for the driving license, probably for my weapon ID as well, but he will never get information about my health situation, okay? This is the universal key, and this is just a key that is restricted based on the authentication server, allowing him to access to the different databases. Well, now let's see again, on the first slide I showed the infrastructures available and devices, how this works on the field. All countries around the world are using voice today, military persons and also policemen, and they are using the walkie-talkie. Today the process is that as an officer, they are identifying themselves first. That's as an example, I could see I'm the officer Manuel, and I'm identifying and authenticate a citizen, probably in the middle of the mountains because I have only my radio on the city as well. The major problem here is that the operator, they don't have really any possibility to know if I am really the agent Manuel. If the citizen is providing me a smart card with a chip, could be contactless, I don't care. If I don't have any smart card reader, the only information I can see is the picture and the demographic that is printed. I don't know really if this card as well is genuine. If we copy-paste the model of the banks with the two keys, this time I will do in a different way. I will contact the operator. I will say I'm the agent Manuel. I will give the card authentication number of my card and also the DS key. The operator will enter the two numbers here. We check in the authentication server and revert to me saying, hello, agent Manuel, give me the information about the citizen. I will give exactly the same information from the citizen, the card authentication number and also the key to do the pace. She will also control in the authentication server, and normally after this the operator can revert directly to the officer in a secure way after doing a mutual identification and authentication just by voice. Now we are in the digital world and we have a mobile phone. I can do exactly the same as I'm doing by voice, just with my mobile phone. I will put again card authentication number, DS key that I can write here, or I can put using an NFC mobile phone, a standard one. And I will do the same for the second card, ID for the citizen. Everything is again controlled if it's genuine. I get back just an SMS about the citizen in order to decide what I am doing with him. Now, if I have a smartphone, I will do exactly again the same, putting again these two key elements, card authentication number and DS key. Everything is controlled by the authentication server, and in my smartphone, I can have a lot of data about the citizen, picture, everything I need that I will never can put in a smart card. Okay? That again, we are showing that on the field, with the existing infrastructures, we are able to identify and authenticate a person anywhere, anytime. Well, now, again, if we resume in all countries, we identify the agents or functionaries, the citizen as well. All countries around the world are using as a standard these tools that they know very well. We have also operators, we have telecoms, we have internet. The only thing we need is to add just the authentication server because everything related to the databases are already existing. Well, now the challenge was how we can satisfy everybody because every time that we are deploying a national ID or a citizen ID, we are focused on the government. The government is asking for IDs, well, let's deliver just cards. Here we tried really to think about everybody that was on this program. Means the government, means the functionaries, and means also the citizens. How we can satisfy everybody? Well, the governments, they keep their database. They are happy with this. And if they want to use biometrics as well, we mentioned before that we can implement as well biometrics on demand on the cards. And they can have some biometric readers on the police department. That's it, just in case they want to double check some authentication about the citizen. Related to the infrastructures, we will tell them, guys, you don't need to invest any cents on this because everything is already on the field, okay? You don't care about how you need to upgrade firmware or tools because this is normally the industry taking care on it. For the functionaries, military, police, and functionaries, we will give them also a credential. With this credential, it will act first as the first key in order to control the citizen with the second key. And we will give them also an e-service card that allows them to do identity and access management doing physical, logical, and VPN access control to their facilities and IT systems. For the citizens, we are giving them an ID, but we are giving them also a token that they are very familiar with this because they are using every day for banking, in order that they can do also e-government. Well, now how this works in case of the citizen lose the card. Today is a nightmare. Everybody knows that if we lose the driving license or another documents, we need to do queues, we need to justify. Again, we are copy-paste the model of the banks. If I lose my credit card, I give just a call in whatever part of the world, and they can sell my card, and they send me a new card. That here, the process will be also, I call a number. The establishment is controlling this, calling back probably the citizen in order to make sure that he claims that he lost or someone has stolen his card, and they issue a new one that they send just by post. Okay? Very easy way to replace a document, like we are replacing today the banking cards. Well, from a logistic point of view, how this works, that basically I call as a citizen a center. The center is calling me back to confirm really that I lost my card or someone is stolen. They can control with the Minister of Interior, okay, in order that they allow to, in just one click, they can sell my card in all databases where I have some information today. As an example of voice as well, I put this slide because the Homeland Security of Israel, after the attacks of the twins in the US, has put mandatory law that all pilots and airlines that are coming to Israel, all the pilots have a token that have also the keypad in order to identify and authenticate them by voice. Okay, that's, they are not using also readers. They are just putting their code. This is giving every time their code that they are giving by voice directly to the people, to the controllers. And they have also some emerging codes. Means that if they do whatever kind of codes here, it appears always a code, but only one is the right one. In case that something is wrong, there is two fighters that go directly to find the airplane. This is to avoid what happened in the US, that everything was going well, and the pilot claims he was the pilot, till that he crashed. Well, another thing we can consider as well, governments today are trying to see how they can improve security and also save lives in accidents, for example. If you have your service cards, it's a very easy way to get by radio again, okay, and to get all the information about a citizen related to blood, I don't know, whatever kind of disease he has, etc., just by voice. Think about now other use application. I'm showing you this because basically when we have a platform, it's like the iPhone, we can imagine thousands and thousands use applications with this platform. Today governments, for example, are thinking about the e-wallet or city cards. And we found that with this platform also we can define a city card in a very convenient way. For example, governments, if they want to implement and control the cars in a city, they need to put and install parameters. This means, again, investments and something that they need to consider to maintenance. What we did here is to program these smart cards, and with the different buttons, we can define what are the timing and the zone where the driver has to park the car. That the only investment from the government, instead to put all these parameters, is to define here and to put a panel zone 1, 2, or 3. When I define the zones, I program my card, and for example, zone 1 is 30 minutes. I am allowing that is a counter that is running. I put just my card on my car, and the policemen, they can control. Now, as a city card, I can use also my card for other application on the city. For example, using the standard interfaces with the MyFare, I can use also to pay the bus, metro, train, taxi. I can define the regions, okay? If it's Abu Dhabi or Dubai, I don't care. I can get also my balance, how many money I have in my e-wallet. I can have everything I want. It's just about configuration. Well, now, message and considerations. I like very much the next slide. Why? Because I think everybody had this dream, okay? That we have 1,000 and 1,000 tools today to identify loyalty cards, credentials, and we can have all of this in one, okay? Even if this is an utopia, this is today the technology allows us to do this. We can say yes, we can today with this platform. And for sure, sometimes we are trying every time to really reinventing the wheel. And I showed during this presentation that today we have everything we need in order to implement very quickly whatever kind of ID with existing infrastructures. For the conclusion, we are moving very fast, okay, thanks to the digital natives, that these people have changed the privacy by social medias, and they are looking for security, convergence, convenience, security everywhere, every time, and also on the go. That means we are not anymore at home or physically. We want to do also a lot of transactions with the card non-present. Today we have deployed over 2 million cards worldwide, and the future is here, is just starting distribution. If you want to know more about this fantastic platform, just come to the booth. We'll be very happy to explain you more applications for banking, corporate, e-online use applications. Thank you very much. Questions? Yes. Case studies. That's today we are, basically the card was deployed for, or developed for banking use application. And we have deployed this in over 30 countries around the world. And we are focused now in everything related to secure IDs. Okay? Okay, thank you.